Chalet Bridge Burners, Fuzzy Dunlop Skates, and today I want to talk about the 10,000 hour rule. Now, I'm going to make this reference a lot in probably fucking almost all of my future videos. So I'm making this video to, explain my perspective on it, and I'm going to get into it a little bit. But again, I relate it to so many things, and it's something that I just recently heard of. But although I had not heard of it before, I always thought something similar. So basically, there's this book called Outliers, and it's written by an author called Malcolm Gladwell, and he delves into what he's kind of found as a mathematical formula for success, and it separates the extremely successful people, like the world-class people, from the rest of us. One of the rules and one of the things in the book that gets talked about the most is the 10,000 hour rule, and this is what I want to talk about. This is a principle that 10,000 hours of persistent practice is a prerequisite to become world-class in anything. So, look, take it with a grain of salt. That's how I take it. And, if you look it up, you're going to see articles that say, like, it's debunked or whatever. I really don't give a shit about this. What I get out of this is that you need to practice. And it's not even a guarantee. And how I take it, I take it a step further, or a step not as far, I guess. And the way I look at it is that it takes 10,000 hours if you want to consider yourself good. Well, that's how I look at it. And I'm not being modest, And I want to give you a couple of examples also that might be relatable to your own life too. I'm 34. I've done a lot of shit. I've done a lot of different jobs. I have 3 trades. I've done like a lot of sports and stuff like that. And one of the questions I get often, almost on a daily basis, is why I don't do X, Y, or Z anymore. And I laugh, because that's the other thing too. Like, I assume foolishly that people think the way I think, and I assume that their thought process is the same as mine. And I'm not saying, I assume people are smart like me, but they're not. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just assuming that, like, the thought process I follow is pretty much what other people follow, and especially if they're smarter than me, which I think most people are, then, I expect people to understand that practice is important to be good. So a lot of people ask me, they're like, why don't you do this anymore? Why don't you, or like, why didn't you become pro? That's a main one. I'll get into that later. So I used to be a ski instructor. So people ask me why I don't ski anymore. And I say, because it takes time, and I skateboard. I'm 34. I live in a place that has fucking 6-month winters. I'm going to move, though. I'm going to move somewhere warm eventually. I don't know where, though. So leave your thoughts in the comment below about where I should move. But, yeah, and people ask me why I don't teach skiing anymore. And the thing is, like, it's fun. It's fucking awesome. And if I didn't skateboard, I would probably do it. But after a certain point, you become a bit more focused in what you want to be good at. And you realize that these things take a lot of time. And it's hard even just to stay adequate. It's hard even just to maintain. And I don't want to be like, I'm one of those guys, it's all or nothing. I'm not really like that, but I want to be good at the things I do, and I want to enjoy them. And even if I go into something modestly at first, like when I stopped skateboarding for 5 years and I started again at 29 years old, at first I was just happy going an hour a week, and I'd be happy if I could land 3 basic tricks. But after about a month, I just naturally progressed, and I wasn't happy doing that anymore. I needed to be good again, and not only good again, I wanted to make America great again. I wanted to be better than I ever was, and everything just came back, and now I am better than I ever was. That's 5 years ago since I restarted, and it's the best thing I ever did. Now, another similar analogy is running. Okay, I've been running for 8 years, and when I started, or skipping rope, let's say, when I started, I went around the block once a day. It took 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and that's all I wanted to do, because I knew just a little bit would be a great start. and try to run a fucking marathon the first day and say like, oh, I have to lose 70 pounds. And, you know, on paper, the professionals, they train for 2 hours a day, so I'm going to train for 8, and I'm going to get 4 times the results. It doesn't work like that. You know, you can get hurt, and then you just get demotivated. And anyway, like, patience as well as hard work, I think, is part of becoming successful, or at least good at something. So that's the thing too, you know, with running, you start small, and or any type of exercise, and you know, you build up a consistent routine, and then you just want to do more. You know, you want to get better. It's just one of those things. It just fucking happens like that. You know, it's not normal or natural, I'd say, to want to stay on the same level. But a lot of people, they rationalize about why they never quote unquote made it in something. So, and I've been running probably, let's say, conservatively estimated 5 hours a week for 8 years. So that's roughly, let's say, 250 hours a year. 8 years of that is 2,000 hours. So I've logged about 2,000 hours of running in 8 years, and that's running an hour and a half or an hour a day, you know, 5 days a week. Look, it's not huge, but it's fucking hefty. So that gives you an idea. Because people are like, oh, you're awesome, you know, and like you're like, and I think it too, and you know, to a degree I am, but nowhere near world class. I'm about a fifth of the way, and that's, you know, the math aspect too. Like, it's really interesting because, especially for running, like how much you have to train. Like 10,000 hours of running, it's a long time, you know. So let's say you were to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Like, you wouldn't be able to do 10,000 hours in a year. So let's say you do something for an hour a day, every day. It'll take about 30 years to get to your 10,000 hours. And look, man, it's not a guarantee, and it's not saying that you can't be good before that. And people are going to be like, oh, well, I don't need 10,000 hours. But you suck, though. And even if you're good right off the bat at something, imagine how much better you're going to be after 10,000 hours. And that too, okay, I have a welding certificate, and I worked as a welder for a while, and I also have an auto body repair certificate, and I have a painting certificate. So I have 3 trades, and you know, I worked as a welder for a while, and welding is probably my strongest suit out of the 3. But they're all related. And sanding too. I'm really good at sanding because sanding takes a long time. And most people, they just look for ways around it. So, or they cut corners and they suck. But it's an apprentice's job. So apprentices should be very good at sanding. But like welding, okay, I worked at a place for a year and a half. And, you know, working 40 hours a week. But these 40 hours were production. This is back-breaking work, non-stop. You know, I'm in relatively good shape, but after 15 minutes of this job, I wanted to die. It was so tough, and I was the strongest guy there, but so everyone else had an even harder time than me, and the days were really long, and the breaks were extremely short, and the pay was shitty. And so, you know, 40 hours a week times 52, it's 2,000 hours in a year. So again, it's like not that much, but like I'm good, you know, like I would consider those 2,000 hours diligent practice, because I'm sweating my ass off, and mentally I'm constantly thinking about ways to do it faster, because they would set impossibly high standards for you to make, and they'd say you get a certain salary when you get this amount, but you couldn't do it. Even the minimum amount was impossible. But anyway, that's like manipulation tactics too, to keep you poor. That's something else. I've touched on it in other videos, and I'll go into it further because it's really relevant. It's happening to me right now. It happens to everybody, so why not fucking share what I know? And if we can all avoid this shit, then we'll be better for it. People ask me too, they'll see me working, whatever I'm doing, and they'll say, oh, you know, did you always do this? Oh, and they'll say, well, why don't you do that anymore? And I say, well, because it's hard, you know? Like, you can't be good at everything. I mean, you could be, but it's hard. It takes a lot of work. And their answer is always the same. I'm good at everything. And it's like, no, you're not, first of all. Like, you're shit. All the people that told me that have been shit. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible. You know, if you put in hours every day of fucking diligent practice, then yeah, you can be good. But the thing is, these guys, like, they'll rationalize what they're doing and call that practice. Like, one of my friends, he's not my friend. Like, not anymore anyway. And not because of this, but kind of because of this. But he just has a fucking victim mentality, and I hate that shit. But we used to talk about exercising all the time. And surprise, surprise, he, like, never got off his ass and got into shape. And he would tell me, you know, a classic story. Oh, I have everything, you know. Like, he would do, like, 2 minutes of, like, super speedy crunches every day, where he'd move his body, like, fucking half a centimeter. And he was, like, insistent that if he just did this every day, he was going to get, like, his dream body. He's a fucking idiot. And, you know, it's a classic, oh, well, you know, I have everything, but I just have a little bit of belly fat to lose. And I would tell him the same thing, like, hey, first, you're full of shit. But the best thing you can do is start running or skipping rope. You need cardio. And he didn't want to do it because he's a lazy fuck. And his answer was that he had a lot of cardio at his job. And this is bullshit. Now, what's his job, you might ask? You know, I said my job was backbreaking before. This guy, he sells cellular phones and cellular phone plans at a kiosk at a shopping center. And he stands up at a counter when he's not sitting down fucking texting. And, like, that's his cardio. You know, like, he's dumb. He's a fucking idiot. And in his head, because he works, like, 6 hours a day, let's say, he's going to count that as 6 hours of cardio. Because he's dumb. So, and then he's going to say, this is the type of guy that's going to say, oh, the 10,000 hours theory, it's not true. Because look how many thousands of hours that I've invested in this. And I'm still, like, so that's the thing. You know, you can't do that shit. You know, even when I practice skating, you know, there's a video, Never Give Up. And I have it, like, I'll put the link up, and it's over the span of, like, 4 days, where I'm just practicing a trick that I can do. But these are on relatively good days, you know, but you just see all the attempts. And, like that, it's about a 3-minute video, and that's 3 minutes of practice right there that you see. Because all the breaks and shit in between, they don't fucking count. And I've been skateboarding, too, for 20 years, okay? And let's say I've been skateboarding for an hour a day. It's been a little bit more than that. But that puts me up to about, you know, 7,000 hours or so. Not world class. And still, like, skateboarding, I would say it's like 20,000 hours. And some people, yeah, they're fucking awesome. You know, they skate like fucking 10 hours a day since they're a kid. I'm going to make another video about that, too. But, look, guys, I just wanted to put the theory out there. And why I subscribe to it. And for me, anyway, like, anytime I had a disagreement with anybody or anyone, like, they're like, oh, I'm going to call you out on your bullshit, you know, everything is like this is the way it is. And the first thing I ask myself is, did this guy do their 10,000 hours of practice? Because when you talk about being good, people are like, oh, well, you know, maybe your good doesn't mean the same as my good. And in my head, I'm good. And, like, you know, I had a friend, he's still my friend, and we used to work out together, and he stopped. And then I'm like, oh, what the fuck happened to you? And he's like, oh, I started reading instead. I'm reading Bruce Lee. I'm like, oh, it's good. Is he going to help you get off your ass? And he's like, no, Bruce Lee said it's good to rest. And so I'm training now, technically, you know? And, like, man, I got so pissed off. Like, me and this guy would be at each other's throats fucking arguing about this shit. And, like, whatever, man. You're still my friend. And this is, like, fucking 10 years ago. But, like, unfortunately, Steve pretty much stopped working out then. And, you know, I never stopped. So, it's just the attitude. You know, which attitude you have, like, that's a prerequisite to the prerequisite. Did you do your 10,000 hours of practice? And it says also, you know, it categorizes 3 types of skill, let's say. Good enough to be a teacher, good enough to be considered good, and then good enough to be world class. And good enough to be a teacher is about 4,000 hours. Good enough to be considered good is like between 6,000 and 8,000 hours. And world class is 10,000 hours. So that's it, you know, skateboarding. About 7,000 hours, let's say. Maybe a few more, but again, there are no guarantees. And this is for skateboarding in general. So, like, in general, I'm pretty good. But on any one trick, if I want to be world class at that trick, well, you know, guess what? That's fucking, expect 10,000 hours. Like, that's it, you know, and why might you be able to do certain things first try? Well, certain things are just easier on the onset than others. But it doesn't mean you can't progress to world-class level 10,000 hours later. Now, there are other factors talked about in the book. There are other factors in real life. But I just wanted to put it into perspective, and I'm going to be making the reference a lot in a lot of stuff. So that's my explanation for it. And anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Let me know what you guys like to do, and how you see practice. I know MGTOW music and phosphorescence probably you're on the same page as me, and somebody else also, probably MGTOW Psyche also. I'm sure you've read this book. You're a really smart guy, and if anybody else I've left out, I'm sorry. But yeah, let me know if you've read it. Let me know how you guys see things, what you guys think of progress, what you guys think is necessary. If you guys are successful, please share your fucking tricks with me. If you guys have a lot of subscribers, how did you do it? Russian hackers who supposedly hacked the election in favor of Donald Trump. I never believed it, but I'm on your side. Please get me more subs. However you guys do it. Squat in front of your PCs and do that fucking Slav shit that fucking makes you guys a PC master race. Please. So, I hope you guys all have a great day. Leave a thought in the comments downstairs. Like, share, subscribe. And to the asshole that's downvoting all my videos, I don't know why. Thanks for downvoting my fucking winter montage. I don't see what you can't like about that video. Maybe if it's not offensive enough, because it's not offensive at all, then let me know. But man, let me know. I know things are going to get thumbs down, but man, it's not even controversial. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, have a great day. I'm Fuzzy Dunlop Skates, and you're watching BRIDGEBURNERS TV. Shout out, my friends.